In today's video, I want to talk about how to naturally balance your hormones. I'm going to go into food tips, certain things you should avoid, certain things you should add in, and how I really think this can help a lot of you. The focus of today's video is going to be on a few different things. I want to talk about macronutrients that you should really focus more on and ones that you should maybe avoid while your hormones are a little bit out of balance, certain food groups that can really negatively impact your hormones, and certain herbs that can really help. And then I want to get a little bit into adaptogens and specific ones that are really great for balancing hormones. I like incorporating my adaptogens through Four Sigmatic because I think it's convenient. The taste is a little bit hidden. They're mixed into coffee. So for me, it just matches my lifestyle. I do want to talk about Four Sigmatic really quickly. I know that some of you in the comments have been saying you think maybe I'm pushing it a little bit on you. I just really want to stress, you guys, anything I share on this channel is absolutely authentic to me. If you follow me on Instagram, if you ever followed me on Snapchat before, now I'm getting like a little bit into TikTok, you'll see I love Four Sigmatic. I genuinely drink it every day. So even though I do partner with them in a lot of my videos, I really do enjoy it. I really do drink it every day, but I do also care about your feedback, and I want you to know that I am reading your comments. So for this video specifically, I did partner with Four Sigmatic, but I also want to make this video about a lot of generalized tips. So the whole focus is not going to be these drinks, but it's going to be everything you can do to naturally balance your hormones. The first thing I want to talk about is hormone imbalance in general. There's so many different kinds of hormones in your body, and they're secreted by different things. It can be the ovaries, the pancreas, the adrenals, and they're kind of considered like chemical signals. So when one of them is off, a lot can be off. And the tricky thing is, because there's so many different types of hormones, sometimes it's hard to kind of keep them all in balance. Like we've got insulin and your blood sugar you have to regulate, you've got thyroid. So there's different, methods to go about it. And this is kind of where prescription medication can get tricky because it's really only focused on one thing. Whereas if you're trying to really heal your body and not just fix one thing at a time, you can try to get the whole system working together, more in balance. So that's what I want to talk about in today's video, different foods you can eat and just different things you can do naturally to help. So I do want to also share little signs and symptoms that could show you that your hormones are out of balance. It is tricky, like I said, because there's so many different ones. So these really can present in different ways. But if you are getting sudden weight gain or weight loss, it can honestly go either way. That could be a sign. Infertility, mood swings, depression or anxiety, stress, fatigue. Any of these things could really lead to it. So honestly, I like to tell a lot of people this, you should feel good. I think that sometimes we're wired to think that we're supposed to be tired all the time and not supposed to feel great after we eat a meal, or we're supposed to be moody. Like our bodies are naturally wired to feel good. So if you're not, then you should try to look into what's going on and really get to the root of the problem. So the first tip I want to get into is a diet tip, which is swapping out carbs for healthy fats. Now, this is interesting because if you watch my content, you know that I actually love carbs. I love healthy carbs. I incorporate them into my diet daily. In fact, I'm probably most carb heavy than any other macronutrient. You've got carbs, fat, and protein. But if your hormones are temporarily out of balance and you want to get back to normal, swapping out carbs, especially refined carbs, for healthy fats might be a really great idea. So the reason you should focus on healthy fats if your hormones are out of balance is for a few different things. Number one, they're really the building blocks of hormones. You actually need them to produce hormones. So especially if you're low on certain things or if anything's out of balance, sometimes it can be a good idea to just focus on these. Actually, a lot of women with PCOS, I actually have a video on this, when you have PCOS and your hormones are out of balance, you really have to avoid a high carb diet. You just can't handle it as much. You're at higher risk for diabetes. That kind of brings me to the next thing. Fats don't spike your blood sugar the way carbs do, and even the way protein does. Carbs the most, but if you are out of balance a little bit, having a high fat diet won't spike your blood sugar. It's kind of why when you intermittent fast, you can have coconut oil or MCT oil, or even ghee or butter in your coffee, and it won't offset that fast because it's not spiking your blood sugar. So just as a general rule, I would try to do this. I think it's even a great idea to, let's say you don't have access to a doctor and you just kind of want to experiment and see if you're better, try switching over from carbs to healthy fats. This is not to say that you should fully cut out carbs. We definitely need healthy carbs in our diet, but go for the ones that are not refined. You can go for like spaghetti squash and sweet potatoes. The ones you want to avoid are like the white bread, the white pasta, the gluten, the white potatoes. So just go for, even vegetables are carbs. So you're still going to get some carbs in your diet. You can't fully cut them out, but just try to go a little heavier on the healthy fats. Just to give you guys some examples of healthy fats, some of my favorites are avocado, coconut oil, coconut cream, chia seeds, walnuts. If you're not vegan, I would recommend some kind of wild fatty fish. Actually, some fish has a lower amount of fat. So if this is your issue and you are not plant-based, then I'd recommend salmon over something like cod. And you could even look this up, like what foods have the highest amount of fat when it's a good kind of fat. So those things you can incorporate into your diet a little more. The coconut oil, I think, is a super easy one because you can put it in drinks, you can put it on toast, like it just spreads easily. Avocado is always kind of my go-to when I'm somewhere and I can't find something to eat that's like healthy on the menu and I want something that's going to give me enough nutrients to hold me over. I'll just do like a lot of avocado. Even like adding it to something really adds a lot of substance. So those are my favorite healthy fats. So the next thing I want to get into is adaptogens. I've talked about adaptogens for years. I love them. I think that they're so amazing and they almost seem like little miracle workers to me. They're plants. Basically, they help your body balance itself. So whether your stress is high, even if your hormones are higher or lower, they actually have the ability to bring you back down to balance. Whereas, if you're taking a prescription drug, you would take it, let's say if your thyroid's high, you would take one to lower it. If it's low, you take one to increase it. So the cool thing about adaptogens is they really just help your body go back to balance. Ashwagandha specifically is one I want to talk about. It's in this product for Sigmatic. This is actually their adaptogen blend mix. This is the one I like to use just because it's easy. I actually like that it has a blend of other adaptogens. I will link this below if you guys want to check that out. I learned a little more about ashwagandha when I saw this Ayurvedic doctor and I did the Panchakarma cleanse, which is a pretty intense 7-day cleanse. And she could tell that my thyroid was a little bit off. My thyroid's a little bit low. And she actually told me to get ashwagandha and she prescribed it for me. She's like an Ayurvedic doctor, which is 2 teaspoons in the morning, like with some almond milk or in my coffee. And at the time I was taking like a compounded dose of like thyroid medication. And she was specifically like, you cannot take both at the same time because it's so powerful that it could actually alter your levels. Like it really is used as medicine. So that always stuck with me. And the more I researched, like ashwagandha really is used for thyroid. So definitely talk to your doctor. I wouldn't recommend just swapping out your medication, but if this is something you think you're experiencing, thyroid can make you feel cold. It can make your hair a little more brittle if it's low. If it's too high, sometimes you can have different changes in weight gain. So talk to your doctor about it and see if this is something you think you're experiencing. This could be a great one to incorporate. This one's super easy. Blend it into a smoothie. You can put it into a coffee, really anything. It dissolves pretty quickly and it's just a good, easy, convenient source. The other adaptogen I want to talk about is Tulsi, which is also known as holy basil. So this one's great for kind of different imbalances, which is cortisol. So cortisol is also a type of hormonal imbalance. It can be too high or too low. We actually want to make sure it's in balance. We don't want to have too low cortisol because we need it for that kind of fight or flight reaction. But a lot of us have cortisol that's too high. I mean, including myself, I meditate, I try to get a lot of sleep, I eat healthy, but there's times where I've tested it where it just shoots up at 5 in the morning. Who knows why? Everyone can be a little bit out of balance. So I always try to do things that are preventative to make sure that everything's kind of running as it should. So Tulsi is really great for that. It also helps if you have heavy metal toxicity or if you're in a city where you feel like you're around a lot of pollution and chemicals. That could be a great one to incorporate. This is my favorite one. It has a little bit of a sweeter taste. I think it's a cinnamon added in there, but it's such an easy way to get it, so convenient. I travel with these on the plane because coffee in the plane is disgusting, so it's easy. Also, airplanes never have plant-based milk. I always complain about this. I feel like it's time to get almond milk or soy milk or something on the plane, but because this has a bit of a sweet taste, I just ask for hot water and mix it in, and it's also good because when you're traveling, your cortisol might be a little out of whack, especially if you're late, if you're stressed, your body can be in stress. Sometimes your mind, you might think you're fine, but your body is undergoing stress, just traveling and kind of being in a rush and you don't know. So it's so good to have one of these on the plane. I think it's the perfect time to incorporate it. I will also link this one below. I also wanted to talk about just 2 specific herbs that I think are really great for balancing hormones. The first one is fennel. So fennel, I'm sure you've heard of. A lot of people can have fennel seed. A lot of cultures will have it like after a meal to help settle their stomach. Basically, good gut health equals good hormone regulation. So when your gut is healthy, the rest of your body will thank you. So if you can incorporate some fennel naturally, I think this is kind of a cool point too. Sometimes we forget that we can make our own tea. Like, yes, you can get a tea bag, but you can get one of those little, like the mini strainer. I know there's a word for it. I'll pop it up here when I find out later. But you can add all your own like herbs and spices in there. And sometimes it's really nice and grounding to make your own and kind of mix it up every night. So fennel is a really great one. Another great spice I want to talk about is thyme. This one is really great for progesterone regulation. So this is great for women who maybe have PCOS, or if you're at high risk for infertility. If you feel like your PMS symptoms are maybe worse than they should be, you can add a little bit of thyme into like some hot water. You can add it into your food. You could even put a little bit of thyme and fennel into the same hot water and make your own little tea, and that could be really great. So those are all the things that I encourage you adding more of. So now I just want to talk about a few foods to avoid. I wanted to start with the positive and with the negative, but dairy. So dairy I've talked about. I talk about it pretty consistently on this channel. I don't think everyone watching this will go fully plant-based or vegan. I know that that's a really personal choice, but if there's one thing I could recommend, it would definitely be cutting out dairy. Number one, I think it's the easiest because there's so many options available to us except for on airplanes. For milk, there's almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk, hemp milk. Soy milk was the original. There's better options now. There's amazing vegan ice creams. There's amazing vegan cheeses. So I think that it's really easy right now to cut dairy out. There's two reasons why dairy can highly alter your hormones. Number one, the way that the cows are treated, the food that they're given, the hormones are getting injected into them, the antibiotics they're being fed. There's numerous things that go into that cow before that milk or dairy comes onto your plate. So you are ingesting all of that. Number two, even if the dairy you're eating is organic, there's a high chance it's still coming from a pregnant cow. And a pregnant cow is going to have hormones, a higher number of hormones that you're now ingesting, which is not meant for you. So for different reasons, dairy is one that I highly recommend avoiding. In fact, a lot of studies have shown that dairy is one of the things that most significantly can alter your hormones in a negative way. So if you feel like you're suffering, I would definitely recommend avoiding that. It's kind of interesting. People are like, take a lactate pill if you can't tolerate it. Why not just not consume it? Obviously, your body's trying to tell you something there. So try to avoid dairy if you can. And the other thing is gluten. Gluten can really cause hormone imbalances. It can cause inflammation. It can increase the risk for leaky gut. So gluten, not everybody is gluten intolerant. You can get a test for this. My thing with gluten is if I can avoid it, I will. Like, I don't have a gluten sensitivity or intolerance. I've been tested, but it's nothing I'm really gaining out of it. Like, there's so many better options. But, if you're vegan and you're out and, there's nothing available except for like an avocado toast and the toast has gluten, then obviously you have to pick and choose your battles there. So I'm not 100% gluten-free, but as much as I can control it and in my house, I am. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little bit different than my other what I eat in a day videos, but I kind of wanted to just give you tips that you can incorporate and then you can add it into your own life. I know sometimes it's hard to just fully copy what someone else eats in a day, but then if you know that you can add these spices in wherever, you can have the coffee whenever you want during the day. Little things like this I thought could help and maybe be more realistic, but you let me know if you like these better or if you prefer kind of the more, this is exactly what I eat in a day. I will link everything below. I'll put the link specifically to these. If you guys do want to try Four Sigmatic, you can go to my link below for 15% off your first order. Again, I truly love Four Sigmatic. I drink it almost every single day. If you want to try it and maybe you don't want to try these and you want to go for your own thing, the cool thing about their website is you can search for exactly what you're looking for. And every product that you see on there, you see exactly what the ingredients are and you see what it's used to help, like what the medicinal mushroom is used to help, what the ingredients are there for. And it's all minimal ingredients, never any additives, maybe like 1 gram of coconut palm sugar. So I like that. If you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.